So I recently had a match with Devin Larratt in Dubai, and it was arguably for the overall #1 in the world. It did not turn out the way I wanted. And many people started, Monster 2.0, we can't wait to see Monster 2.0, Monster 2.0. And it really is a direct correlation to that loss. It won't happen overnight, but you will see something different, and it is Monster 2.0, and it's gonna be fun to see for sure. I am the world arm wrestling champion. Monster Michael Todd, Hot Springs, Arkansas. But I have won 21 world titles and 36 national titles. The national titles have been over 6 different weight classes. The world titles have been heavyweight and super heavyweight. Well, you know, I'm just a redneck from Arkansas who just grew up, small school, 52 people in my graduating class. The average day for me, as far as how I approach the sport of arm wrestling, I'm a little bit different than some people. Like I treat myself like a professional. My nutrition's on point. I'm gonna eat 4 to 6, 5, 6 meals a day. I do sprint style training. I do these circuit style training. So I'll get up every morning, I'll do cardio on a fasted stomach, and then I'll do some hand, wrist, and forearm exercises during that cardio. I'll come back later in the day and I'll do a specific exercise, a specific workout. But in each workout, there's many arm wrestling specific exercises, hand, wrist, forearm, mimicking arm wrestling through cables. So man, I just, I have a regular job. I train people for a living. This is our private gym where we have private one-on-one training, but basically, I love arm wrestling, and I train every day just like anyone would for any other professional sport. In my first ever tournament, I ended up putting the reigning national champion out of the tournament. So at that point, I had high hopes. I was going to be this amazing world-class arm wrestler. Funny thing was, that was 1992. I didn't win my first national title until 2000, but then I won the national championship every year for 10 years after that. And I've held a world title since 2005. So I guess sometime in there, I thought, hey, let's be a professional arm wrestler. The driving force for me from the time I started arm wrestling until I became a national champion was always just be a better version of me at the next event. The one thing about arm wrestling, it's a sport that you can do forever. Like there is no such thing as a retired arm wrestler. You just keep arm wrestling. I just turned 48 years old and I'm arguably at my peak still today, and I still think I can get stronger. I look back and I think about all the people who've been doing this sport as long as I have, who have never won a national title, who have never, they just keep at it. There's something about it, that one-on-one competition, that drive. Sometimes people find out about arm wrestling after they've, 20s, 30s, whatever. They were competitive athletes in high school. They always enjoyed arm wrestling, and they found out it was a competitive sport as a way for them to stay active, to be healthy, because arm wrestling has weight classes. Oftentimes, as you get older, you put on some extra weight, you go to arm wrestling, you're like, dang, if I could get to that smaller weight class, I'd be a lot more competitive. So the sport just drives you to be better. My best advice to give someone, if they're first time to ever get up to the arm wrestling table, is be safe. It's just arm wrestling, dude. Don't let your ego get you hurt. Most people don't realize it only takes 14 pounds of pressure when your hand goes past your shoulder. That humerus bone can break. Now, it's not the same for everybody, but that's like the general rule. So I always tell people when they get up to the table, think of arm wrestling as a pulling sport, as a tug of war. So instead of twisting your body and going sideways, grab your opponent and pull him to you. Because as soon as you pull him to you, you've taken away a lot of his leverage. And then just tuck in nice and tight and just kind of drag it over the pin. So the key is just be safe. Have fun. It's a great sport. Everyone's done it. But at the end of the day, unless you're doing it for a lot of money or something, there's no reason to injure yourself. Just have a good time and try to stay safe. So probably my most enjoyable arm wrestling tournament I ever participated in. This is going to be kind of corny, but so my wife is a 7-time national champion. My stepson's a 7-time national champion. In 2015, we were going to the national championships as a family. First time ever. I watched my stepson win the youth division. I watched my wife win 2 divisions undefeated, and then I won 4 divisions undefeated. So as a family, we won 7 undefeated national titles. So it wasn't the biggest event I've ever done, but doing it as a family made it pretty special. I have about 1,000 trophies. We counted them, 10 years ago, and there's about 1,000. Man, so of the 21, it's gonna be one of the world titles. Now, it used to be one of the national titles, like the first time I ever beat Ron Bath, who was a legend in arm wrestling. Now, I'd probably say it's the ones that I was not supposed to win. So the WAL hammer, right there, there's 3 of them. That first one over there was the 2017 WAL Championships. It was a tournament format. Now, a lot of people see me as a one-on-one arm wrestler, a pro format arm wrestler where I arm wrestle one person, best of 3 or 6 rounds, or best of 5 or 6 rounds or whatever. Traditional arm wrestling was double elimination tournament. This was a seeded event. Now I was a world champion for the Ultimate Arm Wrestling League, so I was not seeded. They had recruited me over to the WAL. So in this seeded event, you had Travis Bajan number 1, Dave Chafee number 2, Nick Zena number 3, and here I was unseeded. No one thought I could win a tournament that deep because I'm the guy that has long matches. I went into that event, first 2 rounds, won, and then it's the number 3 seed guy, Nick Zena. I beat him. Then it's the number 1 seed guy, Travis Bajan. I beat him. And then I had to pull Dave Chafee in the finals, and I end up winning the WL open weight tournament final, and basically no one thought I had a chance. So that award, you know, doing what a lot of the pros, a lot of the experts thought wasn't possible, that one means a lot. My toughest opponent, and it's a rival that I thought I would have for years, and this one is really dear to my heart. It's Andrei Pushkar, the Ukrainian pain train. He and I arm wrestling the first time in 2012. I beat him 6-0. It's another one that no one gave me a chance to win. In 2017, he was ranked overall #1 in the world, and we had a brutal match, and he ended up beating me 4-2. The next year, he was killed on the way to that same tournament. So I thought that we would arm wrestle. I thought that was just another chapter. I thought our story had many more chapters left. So losing him in 2018 and knowing that because at the time when I lost that match, it crushed me. But seeing how things played out, I'm glad that he had that last victory. So he would be my toughest opponent. And to be honest, he's probably my favorite. There's so much respect that we had from one another, because like, he didn't speak English well. I obviously didn't speak Ukrainian or Russian, but when you're elite at a sport, there's that mutual respect between one another. Whether or not you can communicate through, you know, your language, you just respect each other on the table. And we had some really good times. So that guy, he was the reason that I got so good. He was the reason that I trained so hard. He was like my benchmark. There was a picture right in front of my wrist roller. I used to have his picture right there. And I just roll my wrist roller, you know, hundreds of times a day looking at his picture. So Andrei Pushkar really was a driving force to making me who I am today. All right, so if someone was to ask me who I think the 5 greatest arm wrestlers of all time, John Brzenk is obviously #1. And John Brzenk's #1 because no one will ever be able to duplicate what he did. And it's not his fault. He did it in an era where arm wrestling was not as big. We didn't have the exposure to knowledge that we have now. Used to, you got a flyer in the mail, or you learn how to arm wrestle through arm wrestling somebody else. Now you just go online and you can train with the champs just from YouTube, right? But John Brzenk basically he took very few losses over 20 plus years and took on all comers. So John Brzenk's definitely on the list. I have to put Andrei Pushkar on the list. Andrei Pushkar won more EAF, European Arm Wrestling Federation, and World Arm Wrestling Federation titles than any super heavyweight ever, by a significant margin. So Andrei's definitely on the list. Denis Simplenkov, who I oftentimes, when I've done my top 5 list, I've never put him on it. But I think that was a mistake on my part. I think Denis definitely goes down one of the top 5 greatest arm wrestlers of all time. As much as it pains me, I've got to put Devin Laird on the list. Primarily because what he did in Dubai, to me, was one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen, because I know I was very well prepared going into that match. And he's been on top numerous times. Now, I didn't give him a lot of credit for his WAL time because it was all in the 225 class. He went down to 225. He took on smaller competitors. He wasn't taking on the best arm wrestlers in the world. He was taking on the best 225 guys in North America. So at that point, I didn't think he was a legitimate claim to overall number in the world or top 5 greatest. I think he's a great ambassador. He's done great things. But now, this new version, Devin, 100% deserves to be in the top 5 arm wrestlers of all time. Who would be number 5? There's so many amazing arm wrestlers. You could go all the way back to 165-pound Dave Patton was a freak. He would enter his weight class and every weight class above it, and even when John Brzenk was there, he'd win every weight class. Now that's earlier times. I don't think any version of Dave Patton would beat the current champion in that weight nowadays, but that's not his fault either. Top 5 greatest. if we're going by accomplishments or we're going by overall raw strength, man, Richard Lupke's probably the strongest human being who's ever stepped up to an arm wrestling table, and the guy does not know how to arm wrestle. He is just, like, at 300 pounds, he strapped 200 pounds to himself and done 8 wide grip pull-ups. Wide grip chin-ups. Wide grip chins, 500 pounds. At 298 pounds, he strapped 300 pounds to himself and did multiple dips, 600-pound dips. Dude's a freak, 21-inch forearms, 23-inch biceps. We were praying at a national championship one time, and in the middle of prayer, I had to like, hey, Rich, you gotta back off my hand. He was squeezing my hand so hard just praying. I'm like, dude, chill. But, so I would say that would probably be my list right now, with not having a lot of thought to really go into it. That's probably my top 5. Some people, and I appreciate it, put me in that top 5. And I think it goes to say it's because I've been among the top for so long. I mean, like I said, I've held a world title. I won my first world title in 2005, and I've held a world title in one or multiple leagues since 2008. I've been in the argument for the last 10 years. I've been in the top 5 in the world open weight class. So some people would put me in there. I don't think I've done enough to be in the top 5 yet. So I will be. Okay, so I recently had a match with Devin Larratt in Dubai, and it was arguably for the overall #1 in the world. It did not turn out the way I wanted. Devin had a perfect performance, and I did not. So after my loss to Devin, we immediately started thinking about what's next. Well, there is no such thing as retirement. There are a few areas that showed a weakness, and I didn't think there were any. On that night there were, so I started working on those few areas. And many people started Monster 2.0. We can't wait to see Monster 2.0, Monster 2.0. And it really is a direct correlation to that loss. It won't happen overnight, but you will see something different, and it is Monster 2.0, and it's gonna be fun to see for sure. As far as a rematch, obviously neither one of us are gonna retire, so we will definitely arm wrestle again. I think the next match would either be him versus Levon Sagnasvili from the Republic of Georgia, or possibly me versus Levon. I don't think that's the next match for him or me, but I know it will happen again. I had to send him the Legacy Hammer. The Legacy Hammer is something that he came up with that whenever I've held it for the last 3 years. I took it from him in 2018. I defended it 5 times. And then I just had to ship it back to him after him beat me. So I just want him and everyone else to know it's only temporary. It will come back here to Arkansas. It's been a lot of fun, man. I've been blessed. I've traveled the world. I've been to Europe 30+ times. I've had amazing life experiences. There's not a place in the world that I could go and someone wouldn't open their home to me and say, hey man, come stay with me, because that's arm wrestling. It's like a big family reunion, get together arm wrestling.
Fulcrum 1, ready 9 line. Type 2 control by Misty 3-1, 133 NA, 25 feet.